Maya Carter wasn't looking at the cracked ceiling tiles or the flickering fluorescent light that had been dying for 3 weeks. She was counting. 5 days until rent was due. $600 short. Zara needed new shoes. Her toes were pressing against the worn canvas of her sneakers. The electricity bill sat unopened on the kitchen counter because seeing the number wouldn't change the fact that she didn't have it. Just get inside. Lock the door. Survive another day. At 29 years old, black, exhausted, and completely invisible, that was Maya's reality tonight. She'd been living in this rent-controlled Brooklyn apartment for 4 years, ever since Marcus left with their savings and her dignity, leaving behind only a 2-year-old daughter and a mountain of debt with his name mysteriously absent from every document. Now she was here, coming home at 11 p.m. from her 3rd shift, still wearing scrubs stained with coffee from the morning diner job, fingers cramping from 8 hours of data entry, squeezed between nursing rounds and picking up Zara from her neighbor's apartment. "Move faster, Maya." Her own voice echoed in her head, sounding eerily like her mother's disappointed tone. "Get home. Check on Zara. Try to sleep before the 6 a.m. shift starts." Maya fumbled with her keys, the metal cold against her fingers that hadn't stopped shaking since Marcus's text came through an hour ago. "I'm coming for what's mine. You owe me. $5K by Friday, or I'm taking Zara." She bit back the rage that lived permanently in her throat now, that stubborn, fierce, protective fire that her grandmother always said would either save her or destroy her. That's when she heard it. Music. Classical. Italian opera. Maybe. Drifting from the penthouse apartment next door, the one that cost more per month than she made in a year, Dante Moretti. The name alone made the building super whisper. Made the other tenants avoid eye contact in the elevator. Made expensive cars idle outside at 2 a.m. with men in dark suits waiting patiently. She'd seen him exactly 3 times in 6 months, once in the hallway, stepping out of his apartment in a suit that probably cost more than her car back when her car still worked. Once in the lobby, a stunning blonde in a red dress draped on his arm, both of them moving through the space like they owned it, because he probably did. Once through a crack in her door when she heard voices, him and 3 men built like refrigerators, speaking in low Italian that sounded like music and menace. At 34, he was the kind of handsome that didn't belong in real life. Tall, dark hair, always perfectly styled, sharp jawline, darker eyes that she'd only glimpsed once but that had seemed to look straight through the world with bored calculation. Designer everything. Different woman every week. The kind of man who made reality bend around him. They called him a legitimate businessman. Wine importer. Real estate investor. But Maya had heard the other whispers from Mrs. Chen, on the 4th floor, who'd lived here for 30 years and knew everyone's secrets. The Moretti family didn't just import wine. They imported power, control, fear. Politicians took their calls, rivals disappeared. Money moved through the city with his fingerprints invisible on every dollar. Mafia. The word was never spoken above a whisper, but it hung in the air whenever he passed. But none of that mattered to the women who circled him like designer-clad vultures. Models, socialites, women who looked like they'd never worried about electricity bills or worn the same pair of scrubs 3 days in a row because laundry cost $4 a load. He gave them nothing that lasted longer than a night. Maya unlocked her door, purposely not looking toward his apartment. Rich people problems weren't her concern. She had bigger issues like the eviction notice that was probably 3 weeks away, the fact that she hadn't bought herself anything that wasn't secondhand in over a year, and Zara's school. Asking about emergency contacts because single-parent households require additional documentation. The apartment was dark, quiet. Zara's nightlight glowed from the bedroom. Tinkerbell, Zara's favorite. Maya kicked off her sneakers, sole separating from the canvas, another expense. Dropped her bag, and moved silently to her daughter's room. There, Zara. 6 years old, braids splayed across her pillow, little chest rising and falling in perfect peace, clutching the stuffed elephant that Marcus had won at a carnival back when he'd still pretended to love them. Maya's heart cracked and mended simultaneously, like it did every time she looked at her daughter. Worth it. All of it. She's worth everything. She was pulling the door closed when her phone buzzed. "Marcus, I'm serious. $5,000. I know you have it. Don't make me come get it myself. Marcus. Actually, forget the money. I'll just take Zara. My daughter. My rights." Maya's hand tightened around the phone until her knuckles went pale. "Over my dead body." Then she heard it, a different sound. Her front door crashing open. Time stopped. Maya spun around, heart detonating in her chest. Marcus. Drunk, furious, stumbling through her apartment with wild eyes and bourbon breath, knocking over the small table by the entrance. Where's my money, Maya? His words slurred, dangerous. You think you can ignore me? You think you can keep my daughter from me? Zara's door behind her. Maya moved without thinking, putting her body between Marcus and the bedroom. Her hand shot out to the kitchen counter, fingers wrapping around the knife block, pulling free the largest blade. Get out. Her voice didn't shake, couldn't shake, not with Zara 10 feet away. Marcus laughed, the sound ugly and sharp. Or what? You gonna call the cops? Tell them what? I'm Zara's father. Got my name on the birth certificate. Got rights. And you? He gestured at the apartment, at her stained scrubs, at her. Look at this place. Look at you. I'll tell them you can't provide for her. That you're working yourself to death. That she deserves better. She deserves better than you. Maya raised the knife, hand steady, eyes locked on him. You have 3 seconds to leave before I make you. Marcus took a step forward. Then everything changed. The door still open from Marcus's entrance slammed wider. Dante Moretti stepped inside. Not in a Tom Ford suit. In a simple black t-shirt and dark jeans that somehow made him look more dangerous. His eyes, those dark, calculating eyes, swept the scene in half a second. Maya with the knife, Marcus drunk and threatening, the bedroom door behind her with a child's nightlight visible. His expression didn't change. But the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. You have 3 seconds to leave, Dante said, his voice quiet, perfectly calm, laced with something that made Marcus freeze mid-step. Before I make you. Marcus spun around, sizing up this stranger. Drunk, confidence warring, with survival instinct. Who the hell do you think? One punch. Precise. Brutal. Efficient. Marcus hit the floor like a puppet with cut strings. Unconscious before his head bounced off the cheap linoleum. Maya couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. The knife was still raised in her hand, shaking now. Adrenaline crashing through her system like a freight train. Dante's eyes shifted to her. Really looked at her. Not through her. Not past her. Not with the polite blindness of someone encountering service staff. Into her. Like he was seeing every sleepless night. Every skipped meal. Every ounce of stubborn strength that kept her standing when the world tried to break her. Like he was seeing the lioness protecting her cub. The warrior in coffee-stained scrubs. The woman who'd rather die than let anyone hurt her daughter. Something passed between them in that moment, electric. Impossible. Dangerous. Maya felt it in her chest. Her stomach. Her fingertips still wrapped around the knife handle. His hand moved, slowly, deliberately. He reached out and gently lowered her arm, his fingers warm against her wrist. And that touch. Lightning. Fire. Recognition of something neither of them had words for. You're safe now, Dante said, his voice softer, his thumb brushing against her pulse point where her heartbeat hammered wildly. Both of you. Maya finally found her voice, broken and breathless. I can handle. I know you can. His eyes hadn't left hers. But you don't have to. Behind her bedroom door, a small voice called out. Mama? Zara. Maya's entire body went rigid, immediately pulling away from Dante to turn toward her daughter's door. But Dante stepped smoothly around Marcus's unconscious body, positioning himself between the bedroom and the chaos. Go, he said quietly. I'll handle this. Handle what? Who are you? Why did you? The questions tumbled out, shock and adrenaline making her voice shake. Dante looked at her with those impossible dark eyes that seemed to see straight through her walls. Her fear, her pride. I'm your neighbor, and I heard your daughter crying through the walls 6 months ago, singing her to sleep. I've been... He paused, something flickering across his face. I've been listening ever since. Maya's breath caught. 6 months. He'd been aware of her for 6 months? That's... She didn't know if it was creepy or protective or terrifying, or, go to your daughter, Maya. He said her name like he'd been practicing it. When you come back out, he'll be gone. This door will be fixed, and you and I are going to have a conversation. It wasn't a request. Maya wanted to argue, to demand answers, to assert that she didn't need some rich, dangerous man solving her problems. But Zara called out again, and maternal instinct overrode everything else. She moved to the bedroom, pausing at the threshold to look back. Dante was pulling out his phone, his other hand already gripping Marcus's collar. His expression had gone, cold again, the warmth he'd shown her vanishing behind ice and calculation. Sleep, he said without looking at her. I'll be here when she's settled. Maya closed Zara's door behind her, scooping up her baby girl and whispering reassurances. But her mind was spinning. her wrist still burning where his fingers had touched her skin. The most dangerous man in New York was in her apartment. And for the first time in 4 years, Maya Carter felt safe. Morning came with impossible silence. Maya woke at 7 a.m. to sunlight streaming through clean windows she hadn't had time to wash in 3 months. Her body jerked upright, memories of last night flooding back. Marcus, the knife, Dante Moretti in her apartment. She'd fallen asleep with Zara curled against her chest, both of them in Maya's bed. After she'd finally emerged from the bedroom to find Dante gone and Marcus vanished, like he'd never existed. Now she stumbled into the living room and stopped breathing. The overturned table was upright. The floor was spotless. Her door, the cheap hollow core door that Marcus had shattered, was replaced. New, solid, with a deadbolt that looked like it belonged in a bank vault. And on her kitchen counter, beside her cold coffee maker and stack of unpaid bills, sat a manila envelope. Maya's hands shook as she opened it. $2,000 in cash, crisp hundreds, neatly stacked. A note card, expensive paper, masculine handwriting. For the rent. D mama? Zara patted out in her unicorn pajamas, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Where did the scary man go? Maya knelt down, pulling her daughter close, breathing in the coconut scent of her hair products. He's gone, baby, he won't come back. Not him. Zara's little face scrunched up. The other man. The one with kind eyes who made the scary man go away. Kind eyes. Maya thought of Dante's dark gaze, cold and calculating, except for that one moment when he'd looked at her like no. She couldn't think about that. He went home. Zara. Is he coming back? Maya didn't have an answer. The knock came at 6 p.m. Maya knew who it was before she opened the door. She'd been jumping at every sound all day, calling in sick to her morning shift, something she never did because she couldn't stop looking at the envelope, the new door, the impossibility of what happened last night. Dante Moretti stood in her hallway, somehow looking more dangerous in a simple white button-down and dark slacks than he had in Blood and Shadows. His hair was styled, his jaw freshly shaved, but those eyes held the same intensity that had burned through her last night. Miss Carter. His voice was formal, controlled. May I come in? Maya stepped aside because refusing felt absurd after everything. He moved into her small space with unconscious grace, making her apartment feel even smaller, shabbier. But he wasn't looking at the mismatched furniture or peeling paint. He was looking at her. I have a job offer for you. Maya crossed her arms, defensive. I don't need charity. Good. I'm not offering any. He pulled a folded paper from his pocket. I need a household manager for my legitimate businesses, someone to coordinate events, handle property management, interface with my corporate staff. $8,000 a month. Full benefits. Flexible hours so you can raise your daughter. Education fund for Zara. The number hit Maya like a physical blow. 8,000. That was more than all 3 of her jobs combined. Why me? Her voice came out harsh with suspicion. You don't know me. Something flickered across his face. Amusement, maybe, or possession. I know you work 3 jobs. I know you haven't bought yourself new clothes in a year. I know you put your daughter to bed singing the same Italian lullaby my mother sang to me, Stella Stellina. He took a step closer. I know you're stronger than anyone I've ever met. I watched you hold a knife on a man twice your size without flinching. Maya's breath caught. He's been listening. For months. Through the walls. That's not. She struggled for words. That's not normal. No, he agreed quietly. It's not. But neither is what I'm offering. Which is what, exactly? Protection. The word hung between them, heavy with meaning. You and Zara will live under my protection. It's non-negotiable. Pride warred with desperation. Maya looked past him to where Zara sat at the kitchen table, coloring with crayons worn down to nubs, wearing shoes that were too small, in an apartment that was one missed payment from eviction. I can do this myself. I've always done it myself. But the voice in her head sounded tired now, defeated. What does your protection actually mean? Maya forced herself to meet his eyes. What am I really signing up for? Dante held her gaze with brutal honesty. I'm not a good man, Maya. I do things that would horrify you, but I will never let anyone hurt you or your daughter again. Not your ex, not my enemies, not anyone. He paused. That includes keeping secrets about what you might see or hear working for me. He's telling me he's dangerous, criminal, exactly what the whispers say. And if I say no, then I'll respect that. His voice softened microscopically. But Marcus won't be the last threat. Men like him can smell vulnerability. You need resources. Power. I'm offering both. Maya looked at the envelope of cash on her counter, at Zara's worn shoes by the door, at the new deadbolt that Dante had installed without asking, because he'd known she needed it. For Zara. Always for Zara. She extended her hand. I accept. His hand enveloped hers warm, strong, that same electric shock racing up her arm. The handshake lingered a second too long, his thumb brushing her knuckles. When do I start? Maya whispered. Dante's eyes darkened with something that looked like triumph and hunger and relief all at once. You already have. Pack tonight. You move tomorrow. The brownstone looked like something from a different universe. 3 stories of restored brick and wrought iron in a Brooklyn neighborhood where trees actually lined the streets and people walked dogs that had professional groomers. Maya stood on the sidewalk with Zara's hand in hers, their belongings in 4 cardboard boxes being carried inside by 2 men in dark suits who moved like soldiers. Mama, is this ours? Zara's voice was pure wonder. For now, baby. Dante appeared in the doorway, somehow reading her hesitation. It's yours as long as you work for me. Longer, if necessary. His eyes met hers with unspoken promise. You're safe here. The interior was beautiful, hardwood floors that gleamed, windows with actual curtains, furniture that matched, 3 bedrooms upstairs, 1 for her, 1 for Zara, 1 for guests. She didn't ask, but it was Zara's room that broke her. A bed with a white canopy, bookshelves already filled with children's books, spines uncracked and new, a desk with art supplies, stuffed animals, arranged carefully on the window seat. I didn't know what she liked, Dante said quietly from the doorway. So I got options. Maya turned to face him, emotions thick in her throat. You did this in one night? I made a phone call. He shrugged like it was nothing, like he hadn't just given her daughter a childhood she'd been unable to provide. The security detail is outside. 2 men, 24/7 rotation, discreet. They won't interfere with your life, but they're there. Because of Marcus? Dante's expression hardened. Marcus is handled. This is for other contingencies. His world. I'm in his world now. Maya's first day at Dante's penthouse was controlled chaos. His legitimate wine import business occupied 2 floors of a Manhattan high-rise, all glass and leather and expensive art. His staff moved with military efficiency, calling him Mr. Moretti with respectful distance, their eyes cautious around her. They think I'm sleeping with you, Maya said bluntly during lunch break. Alone in his private office, Dante looked up from his computer, something dangerous flickering in his eyes. Do you care what they think? I care about being respected. Then earn it. He leaned back in his chair. Show them you're not here for my bed. You're here because you're competent. She did. Within 2 weeks, Maya had reorganized his event calendar, negotiated better catering contracts, and coordinated a charity wine tasting that brought in 6 figures. His staff stopped whispering, started asking her opinion, but she also saw the other side. Men with shoulder holsters under expensive suits, coded phone conversations in Italian, a ledger she accidentally glimpsed that had numbers far too large for wine imports. Dante Moretti was exactly what the rumors said, and somehow, that made her heart beat faster instead of slower. Week 3, everything shifted. Dante appeared at the brownstone on a Saturday morning with a white bakery box tied with string. What's this? Maya opened, the door in yoga pants and a t-shirt, hair in a messy bun, completely unprepared for how domestic this felt. Sfogliatelle. Italian pastry. He smiled, actually smiled, and the transformation was devastating. For Zara, if that's okay. Zara appeared like a summoned sprite, the man with kind eyes, and Maya watched heart cracking open as the most dangerous man in New York knelt to her daughter's level, opened the box with gentle hands, and taught her to say, Buongiorno, with patient repetition. Watched him lift Zara onto his shoulders when she asked, this tiny black girl with beaded braids laughing on top of an Italian Mafia don's shoulders, both of them grinning like it was the most natural thing in the world. Hire Mr. D? Mr. D? She'd given him a nickname. That evening, after Zara was asleep, Maya and Dante sat in her small kitchen, not his penthouse, her space. Drinking wine, he'd brought something expensive in Italian that tasted like liquid gold. Why are you really doing this? Maya asked. Dante studied his glass. I've had 100 women want me for my name, my money, my power. His eyes lifted to hers, dark and honest. You wanted nothing. You looked through me in that hallway 6 months ago like I was invisible, Do you know how rare that is? I didn't look through you. I was just surviving. I know. He reached across the table, his fingers brushing hers. I've been surrounded by people my entire life, Maya, and I've been alone every single day, until I heard you singing to your daughter through the walls. The air between them crackled with unspoken confession. This is dangerous, Maya whispered. Yes, Dante agreed. Neither pulled away. The photos arrived Monday morning. Dante's office, Maya coordinating RSVPs for a corporate gala. His head of security, a man called Luca with a scar bisecting his left eyebrow, entered without knocking. One look at his face and Maya's blood froze. Luca placed an envelope on Dante's desk. Dante opened it, his expression going absolutely cold, then slid 3 photos across to Maya. Zara, at her new private school, time-stamped from this morning, different angles, professional quality. A message. We can reach her whenever we want. Maya's hands shook as she picked them up. Who? Costanza family. Dante's voice was ice and death. They want my territory in Red Hook. This is their opening move. Move? Maya's voice pitched up. These are pictures of my daughter, which is why she's being pulled from school today. Dante was already on his phone. Luca, private tutor, immediate hire, full security clearance, triple the detail on the brownstone. This is because of me. Maya stood, panic clawing at her throat. Because I'm in your life. They're targeting. Dante was in front of her instantly, hands on her shoulders, forcing her to meet his eyes. This is because they're testing me. They'll learn not to. 3 weeks later, late night, Dante's penthouse kitchen. Maya was drowning in spreadsheets, seating charts for a 300-person charity gala, dietary restrictions, political rivals who couldn't be seated together. She'd sent Dante's corporate staff home an hour ago, determined to finish alone. Then he appeared, not Mr. Moretti in a 3-piece suit, just Dante in a t-shirt and sleep-rumpled hair, barefoot, human. It's 1 a.m., Maya. Almost done. She didn't look up, even as awareness prickled across her skin. He moved behind her chair, looking over her shoulder at her color-coded spreadsheet. His breath stirred the hair at her temple. You alphabetized the wine list by region. Your staff had it by price. Seemed tacky. You're reorganizing my entire operation. His voice held amusement and something darker. My men are terrified of you now. You made Luca redo a security report 3 times. It had typos. Maya finally turned, finding his face inches from hers. Standards matter. Dante's eyes traveled over her face like he was memorizing every Y. Detail. I've had 100 women want me for my name, my money, my power. His hand came up, fingers brushing her cheek. You're the first who makes me want to be a better man. Maya's breath caught. You don't scare me, Dante. I should. His thumb traced her bottom lip. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Yes, I do. She stood, closing the distance until they were chest to chest. I've seen your ledgers, your men. I know what you are. And you're still here. I'm still here. He kissed her. Hungry, desperate, inevitable, like gravity finally winning. His hands cupped her face, angled her mouth to his, tasted her like she was salvation and sin combined. Maya's fingers fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer, 4 weeks of tension detonating between them. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Dante pressed his forehead to hers. This changes everything, he whispered. I know. Morning brought reality in a manila envelope. More photos. Not just Zara now. Maya, at the knot, brownstone, grocery shopping, walking to the subway. The note. Give up Red Hook, or lose what matters. Luca stood rigid in Dante's office. They're escalating. This is a direct threat. I don't negotiate with threats. Dante's voice was arctic. But Maya was already moving, already thinking. She'd known this would happen. Known that loving him, God, did she love him already? Would paint a target on Zara's back. By noon, she was packing. Dante found her shoving clothes into a duffel bag, tears streaming down her face, moving with frantic determination. What are you doing? Leaving. Taking Zara. Disappearing. Maya didn't stop packing. This is what happens when you get close to me. I won't let my daughter pay for my choices. Dante grabbed the duffel, threw it across the room. You think leaving keeps her safe? They know about her now, Maya. The only safe place is with me. They're threatening her because of you, and I will burn their entire organization to the ground before I let them touch her. His voice cracked with raw emotion. She's mine to protect now. You both are. You don't get to make that choice alone anymore. Maya collapsed onto the bed, sobs tearing through her. I can't let her pay for wanting you. Dante knelt in front of her, taking her face in his hands. Then we protect her together. With everything I have, everything I am, 2 weeks of false peace, playing family, Zara calling him Mr. D with unconscious affection, stolen kisses when she wasn't looking. Maya falling deeper into the impossible dream of this them being real. Zara drew pictures, her, Mama, and Mr. D holding hands under a rainbow. That's us, she explained seriously. We're a family now. Maya's heart shattered and rebuilt simultaneously. Then came Thursday. Maya arrived at the private brownstone where Zara's tutor conducted lessons 4 p.m. pickup. Same as always. The security guard should have been at the door. He wasn't. Maya's instincts screamed. She ran inside. Empty room. Tutor unconscious on the floor, bleeding from a head wound. No Zara. A note on the desk. Costanza family sends their regards. Come alone, Dante. Trade yourself for the girl. You have 2 hours. Maya's scream brought neighbors running. By the time Dante arrived 3 minutes later, she was on her knees, hyperventilating, the note clutched in shaking hands. He read it once. His face transformed into something inhuman, cold, lethal, absolutely terrifying. Luca. Full mobilization. Every soldier, every weapon, every contact. Now. Then he knelt, pulled Maya into his arms. I will get her back, he promised against her hair, and I will make them wish they'd never been born. Maya couldn't breathe. Her lungs had forgotten how. Her body was collapsing inward, folding around the absence of her daughter, the empty space where Zara should be, safe, laughing, calling her mama. Dante caught her before she hit the ground, his arms iron bands around her shaking body. Breathe. Maya, breathe. She's gone, they have her. She's 6 years old, Dante. She's just a baby, and I will get her back. His voice cut through her panic like a blade, absolute and cold. Do you trust me? Maya looked into his eyes, those dark, merciless eyes that had gone full predator, and saw the truth. This wasn't the man who taught Zara Italian. This was the monster his enemies whispered about. Yes. Then trust me now. He stood, phone already at his ear, rapid-fire Italian pouring out. Around them, men materialized from shadows, 8, 10, 12 soldiers in tactical gear, moving with lethal precision. Luca appeared with a tablet, satellite images displayed. Costanza Warehouse, Industrial District. Confirmed heat signatures, 6 hostiles, 1 small target. Isolated northeast corner. Zara. They're calling my daughter a target. Every exit covered, Dante ordered, voice arctic. Snipers on adjacent buildings. No one leaves alive except my daughter. My daughter. He'd said my daughter? Maya grabbed his arm. This is my fault. I brought this into your life. Dante cupped her face with shocking gentleness amid the chaos. She's there because they made a fatal mistake, and I'm going to teach them what happens when you touch my family. The warehouse loomed like a tomb. Dante approached alone, hands visible, unarmed exactly as demanded. Maya watched from the SUV 2 blocks away, Luca's hand on her shoulder, the only thing keeping her from running after him. Through the tactical feed on Luca's tablet, she saw everything. Dante entering, 6 men with guns. The Costanza underboss, a man called Sal with dead eyes and a cruel mouth holding Zara by the arm. Her baby girl's face streaked with tears but furious, not broken. That's my girl? My fierce girl, the famous Dante Moretti. Sal's voice crackled through the comms. On his knees for a little black bastard that ain't even his. Let her go. Dante's voice was perfectly calm. You want me. Here I am. Oh, we're keeping both. You think we're stupid? The moment she walks, your men move. Dante smiled, cold, empty, terrifying. My men are already inside. Chaos erupted. Windows exploded. Smoke grenades detonated. Dante hit the ground, covering his head as his soldiers poured in through ventilation shafts, through the floor, through spaces that shouldn't have existed. Gunfire. Screaming. Systematic, brutal efficiency. Maya watched Luca counting down on his fingers. At 0, a soldier emerged from the smoke carrying Zara, running for the extraction point. I have the package, the soldier's voice through comms. Package is secure. Then Dante stood, walked through the carnage like death incarnate, found Sal trying to crawl away, leg shattered, pulled his gun with mechanical precision. She's my daughter now. Dante said, voice carrying through the comms. Touch her, you die. Touch her mother, your entire bloodline dies. One shot. Clean. Final. Justice delivered by a father's hand. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and second chances. Zara was physically unharmed, terrified, traumatized, but whole. She sat between Maya and Dante in the private room, clutching both their hands, refusing to let go. Mr. D came for me, she whispered. I knew he would. Dante's jaw clenched, emotion breaking through his control. After the doctors finished, after Zara finally fell asleep curled against Maya's chest, after the adrenaline drained away leaving only truth, Maya broke. Sobs tore through her body. 4 hours of terror finally released. I can't lose her. I can't lose you. Dante knelt in front of her, this man with blood still on his cuffs, and took her face in his hands. You won't. I'm yours. Completely. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a ring antique gold emerald stone catching the fluorescent light. This was my mother's. I've kept it for 20 years, waiting for the impossible woman who'd make me want forever. Dante. Marry me. Not someday. Now. I want you both to have my name, my protection, everything I am. His voice cracked. I want to be Zara's father, legally, completely. I want to be your husband. Let me protect you. Let me love you. Please. Maya looked at this man who'd painted streets red for her daughter, who'd become gentle for a 6-year-old girl's laughter, who'd seen her when she was invisible to everyone else. Yes. He slid the ring onto her finger, kissed her like she was oxygen, then turned to sleeping Zara. Papa's here, he whispered, brushing braids from her face. Papa's always going to be here. 3 weeks later, the charity gala glittered with New York's elite. Crystal chandeliers, designer gowns. The same people who'd ignored Maya when she served drinks, who'd looked through her like furniture, who'd never thought she mattered. Now she stood in the penthouse suite, staring at her reflection. The midnight blue gown fit like sin. Dante had 3 designers compete for the commission. Her natural hair was styled in elegant braids crowned with gold accessories, diamonds at her throat that cost more than her childhood home. But it was the ring on her finger that made her breath catch. His mother's emerald, his promise, his love. Mama, we match. Zara twirled in her miniature version of the gown, braids adorned with matching gold, pure joy radiating from her. Dante appeared in the doorway, devastating in a tuxedo, and stopped breathing. You're beautiful, he said, voice rough. Both of you. We're a family, Zara announced, grabbing both their hands. Right, Papa? Papa? The name had come naturally after the hospital. No one corrected her. Dante lifted her onto his hip, extended his other hand to Maya. Ready to face them? Together, Maya said. The ballroom went silent when they entered. Dante Moretti, the Ice King, the untouchable billionaire, the man every woman wanted, with a black single mother on his arm, and her daughter held protectively against his chest. The whispers started immediately. Shock, confusion, judgment from socialites who'd thrown themselves at him for years. Dante ignored them all, walking Maya to their table, seating her like a queen, keeping Zara close. Mr. Moretti, a society reporter appeared. Who is your lovely companion? Before Maya could deflect, Dante stood, took the microphone from the gala host, and walked to the stage. Maya's heart stopped. Dante, what are you? His voice carried through the ballroom, amplified and absolute. I want to make an announcement. Every eye fixed on him. This is Maya Carter, the woman I love. This is Zara, the daughter I'm honored to raise as my own. He found Maya's eyes across the room. 3 weeks ago, someone threatened my family. They learned what happens when you make that mistake. Tonight I'm making it clear to everyone in this room, everyone in this city. He paused, letting the weight settle. Anyone with a problem can take it up with me personally. Silence, then applause. Cautious at first, then genuine, then thunderous. Dante returned to their table, extended his hand. Dance with me. Maya let him lead her to the floor, aware of every stare, every camera. But Dante held her like she was precious, like she was his entire world. You just rewrote the rules, Maya whispered. For you, I'd rewrite reality. He kissed her forehead. Nothing touches my family, not society, not tradition, not anyone. Papa, my turn. Zara appeared, bouncing. Dante laughed, actually laughed, and lifted her onto his feet, dancing with a 6-year-old while Manhattan's elite watched the untouchable Mafia king become human. 1 year later, Maya crossed the graduation stage, accepting her nursing degree to Dante's applause and Zara's enthusiastic screaming from the audience. 4 years of paused dreams finally realized. Their home, a renovated brownstone with Zara's artwork covering the fridge, family photos on every surface, normal chaos mixed with abnormal security, was filled with laughter now. Zara thrived, called Dante Papa without hesitation, knew she was loved, protected, chosen. The marriage had been simple. Private ceremony. Just them and Zara signing as witness, declaring before God and law what was already true. Family. Maya ran the Moretti Foundation now, channeling his resources into single mother housing, education funds, nursing scholarships, using his power for good, transforming blood money into hope. That evening, home, ordinary magic. Zara doing homework at the kitchen table, Dante attempting to help with math, getting it hilariously wrong. Maya cooking, correcting his calculations, laughing when he stole kisses between fractions. Mama! Zara looked up. Remember when we lived in the old apartment and you were always tired? Maya's chest tightened. I remember, baby. I like this better. When you smile. Dante wrapped his arms around Maya's waist from behind, chin on her shoulder. What are you thinking about? Maya leaned into him, watching their daughter happy and safe and whole. That everyone wanted you, she whispered. But you saw me. Dante turned her in his arms, those dark eyes soft now, full of the love that had rewritten both their worlds. You were the only one worth seeing. Zara groaned. Gross, you're being mushy again. They laughed. All three of them. A family built from desperation and danger, from a single mother's fierce strength and a mafia king's unexpected heart. Some fairy tales are written in blood. Theirs was written in fire, and they'd burn the world down to protect it.